Welcome back, friends. Today we are diving into one of the most thrilling stories in the CBSE Class 10 English textbook, Footprints Without Feet by the legendary H.G. Wells.
That's right. Wells was a British author known as the father of science fiction. He wrote classics like The Time Machine, The War of the Worlds, and of course, The Invisible Man, from which this lesson is taken.
The story begins with two boys seeing something very strange. The two boys started in surprise at the fresh, muddy imprints of a pair of bare feet.
This is where the expression, a remarkable sight met their eyes, comes in. It means they saw something very unusual, footprints appearing out of nowhere.
And the mystery man is Griffin, a scientist who had carried out experiment after experiment to make the human body invisible. Carried out here means he performed or conducted experiments.
Yes, but Griffin wasn't exactly a role model. The story says, Griffin was rather a lawless person. That means he didn't care much for rules or laws.
Exactly. In fact, when his landlord tried to eject him or force him to leave the house, Griffin burned it down in revenge.
And then, to get away without being seen, he had to remove all his clothes. Get away here means to escape. But he became a homeless, invisible man wandering in the freezing cold.
The text says, his adventures were by no means over. That phrase means his troubles were far from finished.
And remember, he could not do without clothes in midwinter. He needed them to stay warm and be seen again.
That's why he decided to walk about a big store after closing time, to find clothes, food, and warmth. Walk about just means roam around.
Griffin helped himself to new clothes and even food. The text says, he gave himself the pleasure of clothing and feeding himself without regard to expense. That means he didn't care about the cost at all.
And his look was hilarious. Bandages round his forehead, dark glasses, false nose, big bushy side whiskers, and a large hat.
But then he callously attacked the shopkeeper. The word callously means without emotion or sympathy. He was becoming more dangerous.
So he moved to Iping village to avoid attention. But his strange appearance set all tongues wagging. It means people couldn't stop talking about him.
And Mrs. Hall, the innkeeper, thought he was an eccentric scientist. Someone unusual and odd, but not necessarily bad.
But the suspense grows when they heard the chink of money being stolen in the clergyman's study. That means they heard the sound of coins clinking.
And when they saw no one there, the clergyman exclaimed, "Extraordinary affair," a phrase showing his complete shock.
Things got even stranger when the furniture started flying. The story says, this opportunity seemed too good to be missed, as Mr. and Mrs. Hall entered Griffin's empty room.
They saw that the clothes were lying about the room. That means the clothes were scattered randomly.
Then came this line. Mrs. Hall fell down the stairs in hysterics. She was so terrified that she screamed and stumbled down the stairs.
She thought the room was haunted by spirits, and even cried, "To think it should rise up against me now." She was shocked that her mother's old chair seemed to attack her.
The villagers thought it was witchcraft, magic, or black arts. But suspicion grew when Griffin had money again. People felt he had a hand in the burglary.
Then the constable, Mr. Jaffers, arrives. He had a tough job. The story says if a magistrate's warrant ordered a person's arrest, the constable had to obey no matter how strange the case.
And what a scene! As Griffin undressed, he turned invisible. The constable tried to get hold of him, but couldn't.
The villagers shouted, "Hold him!" But, as the text says, that was easier said than done.
In the end, Griffin escaped and no one knew where to lay hands on him. No one knew how to catch him.
What a roller coaster of a story! A mix of science fiction, crime, and suspense. It makes you think about the consequences of unchecked ambition.
And of course, how invisibility doesn't make you a hero. It only magnifies who you already are.
Well said, Rajesh. Friends, let us know in the comments, what would you do if you were invisible for a day?
Until next time, stay curious and keep reading.